I am very excited to introduce our next guest, Monica Kapoor. Monica Kapoor is actually joining us from India, and she is an art therapist in India, where she really loves working with people to remove all of those mental roadblocks that we get in our lives and that sometimes prevent us from being our best self and being from all the awesomeness that we really can be. She provides a really non-judgmental and safe space to sort of cultivate and collaborate in a therapeutic environment. And she uses techniques like art therapy and breath work, mindfulness, and spiritual response therapy to help the people that come to her and work with her. She practices in Delhi, India, and she also does a lot of online teletherapy. So if you're interested in working with her, she works all around the world. And she has an education and certification diploma in art therapy. She also has a master's of science in human development, family relations, a master's in labor and human resources, and a master's in child development. So, Monica, we are very happy to have you be part of our retreat and just bring your wealth of understanding and education to this conversation. So, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Amy, for inviting me. I'm really excited to be part of, the conversation and the group we are leading. So thank you.
Well, I'm hoping maybe we can learn a little bit about your decision to become an art therapist. Tell us a little bit about your journey and see how you see art therapy as maybe different than other therapeutic forms that you use. You've obviously had exposure to a lot of different types of therapy, and I'm curious, how you see art therapy different.
Okay. So I found art therapy when my mother passed away a few years back. And at that time, I tried everything under the sun to feel better. A lot of mindfulness activities, Reiki, healing, and nothing worked. And I found a small course, Healing Grief with Art. It was an online course and a start of a whole new world.
Hmm.
And I it really healed me, that 30 days of journaling. And then I decided I will do a diploma. I found the right college. And then I gave up my full time job in HR and became an art therapist. And I've been doing this now for almost 6 years. How is it different? Well, in talk therapy, it's very cognitive mode. Primarily you're talking and expressing what's happening. Here, the key difference is that you use art as a basis for everything. So I'll give you a very, very simple example. A person says, I have a certain goal. And if I say, draw that goal and show it to me, right? What happens is the person may say, oh, I'm going to run 5 kilometers. But if the drawing shows the person sitting in a forest and enjoying the breeze, clearly there is a issue between the unconscious and what conscious. And therefore art becomes, it's like a conduit to go into the unconscious. And it is also very good for, not everybody likes to talk. There are people also have developmental disabilities. There are people who don't like to express themselves with words. There are people with dementia, Parkinson's, and lots of research has come out which says art really helps these people. So the key difference, I would say, art is the main conduit, vis-a-vis in a talk therapy where you're just talking. So the creative mediums become the talking point, and that's how we use it.
Yeah, I feel, at least in my own life, I'll own my own life, and but I think that there's research to back this up, that sometimes, you just can't describe in words what is happening inside. Sometimes our words are not expressive enough to share some of those inner workings of what's going on. And I think the research is pretty clear about that, but I certainly found that in my own life as well. So yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. In my work, in the work that I'm doing, I talk a lot about becoming unshakable and really being able to be resilient through life's challenges. I'm wondering what that means for you and how you can help your clients cultivate it through art.
Okay. So resilience typically is the ability to overcome difficult circumstances. And the way art therapy works is, first of all, it's a medium of self expression. So whenever we are using any kind of art material, be it paint, be it clay, it allows us to express ourselves. And just like you said, you move from the verbal to the non-verbal. Whatever has to come out comes out, both in the process of making the art as well as talking about it. In terms of resilience, it can help you explore identities, it can help develop communities, and how you can use art every day to develop and cultivate resilience. There's so many ways. For example, writing morning pages, for example, doing some kind of clay work in order to relax yourself. Uh, Most recently, I've been doing a lot of neurographica work, which acts as a means for both catharsis as well as working on specific goals. It can it can really take you into your past but also help you move past it. So any kind of material which you use in art helps you express yourself, helps you address whatever has been happening to you, and therefore find meaning in what has happened and moving on. So the way I help clients is, I will always ask the client, and they are the starting point. So I will ask them, what kind of art material do you like? For a person, the, the ease with which they come into it has to be judged. I'll not force it, but I will introduce things gently. And people, I have noticed over a period of time, are willing to work with different mediums, different ways, and address whatever is happening and moving beyond the everyday challenges. Because, as women, there is so much pressure on everything: parenting, the job, your parents. So, art also gives you a space to just be. So in some ways, it's a way of, what I would even call it, a creative meditation. Even just 10 minutes of art can help in that. And that helps you kind of, really refresh yourself, find yourself, and find that moment of time where creativity can be the medium of joy. So
Yeah.
that's how I do it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you also mentioned, like, we as women, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. I think we have a lot of sort of just societal pressures as well. And I know that you work a lot with young women, and maybe you can talk to us a little bit about how you've seen art expression really impact young women, and why do you think it's such a powerful tool to give to girls?
So I've been working with young women in different surroundings, both in therapy as well as in orphanages. And one of the thing is, a lot of young women, when you give them a piece of, for when you give them any art material, first of all, it boosts your creativity at a very basic level. The second step is, it allows them to say what they are not able to say. So I'll give a very small example. I'll just make, for example, a graffiti wall of newspaper. Okay. And we're just putting newspapers and we're asking these girls, express. Just write anything which is on your mind. Don't hold back. And you'll be surprised at what can come out. And it's all not always negative, but it allows them to speak what is in their head. And
Mhm.
so for each, essentially, it helps in improving their self-esteem, it helps in building up their confidence, it helps them in improving their body language, it helps them in improving, whatever they are facing inside of them and releasing them. And with young women, one of the thing is to expose them to a lot of different art material, and do it in a gentle way. Don't force it on them. For example, on a table, if you have, young teenagers in your house, I would just make a craft space with a lot of everything from clay to slime to paint, little things, so that they know this is something they can use if they feel like. Other thing is, I would also say, this is something which has worked very well. Let's try it if it reduces your anxiety about, for example, the exams, right? It is such a big thing. I have
Mhm.
exam. college, I don't know what to do, I'm getting stressed out. So even if you talk to, when I work with teenagers, I'll say, okay, let's look at this exam anxiety and let's see if we can do a certain kind of exercises with art, with paint, to just reduce this anxiety a wee bit. And once they get into it, they are able to, go deeper into deeper layers. So typically I work with certain themes with people, which can be anything from sexuality to body image to social media, to trauma, to other things, self affirmations, self esteem improvement. And that's how we address these different things. Similarly, what's happening in the school, a lot of bullying happens, and if you're going to ask them, they're not going to tell you.
Mm.
But if you say, okay, let's make 4 or 5 things of clay. Okay, let's see what's happening in your school. And the minute you've given them, that space to create 5 of their friends and say, just tell me what's happening, you will be surprised at what can come up in those kinds of discussions. With young women, it can be used in a variety of different ways, and you can create different kind of art directives for each theme, and in order to help them. So that's the way I do my work with children and adolescents.
I, I love, this work with teens, especially young women, I think is so important because this is a time when all of the emotions are really starting to pour in and they're new, like they're intensified like during these years. And there hasn't yet been sort of the learning of how to work through them and manage through them and put them in their proper place and perspective. And so to have a nonverbal way, I think, of being able to explore some of those and talk about some of those where there isn't any judgment, it's just an opportunity to express, I think is such a powerful tool. And I loved your practical advice for parents about how to maybe set up a little space that teenagers can have access to materials that just allow them to sit down and express in a way that is not judgmental. It doesn't even need to be, so tell me about school. It can just be an opportunity to, work through some of their emotions on their own. So I love that. I think that's such a great practical application for parents. Any others that you can think of that parents might use to help them understand the emotions of their children, particularly in young girls?
So there are many, many ways in which you can, build these kind of activities in your daily routine. One of the thing is to really be the role model for the child. So for example, if you're doing gardening, right? Get a container and start painting. Ask your child to, join in maintain in, making that container. And then you can just talk about how this container can be a safe place, how it helped you feel at this point of time. You're not straight away saying this is your safe spot, but you're gently nudging them and saying, what would you like to plant in this? And when you're talking to them, certain kind of emotions will come out. Another thing you can do is you can take your teenager, for example, for a museum walk, right? Make it like a mother daughter kind of a thing, let's go and see a museum. You can also introduce them to materials like pottery, where, like I said, give them some slime, give them some pottery, and just say, let's just, put this in our hand and see, what can we make something? Or it's Mother's Day. Do you want to make something with this? And just see, what is it that they're trying to create. You can also do, things like taking out old family photographs. Okay, say a grandmother's photograph, say a photograph of friends, and just say, nice, let's just make a scrapbook of it. Okay, and when they're talking, they're all of a sudden, talking about something. So you're accessing certain memories. Similarly, if you say, show me your class scrapbook, let's talk about this child. And actually, this was your friend. Okay, what happened? You stopped talking to her. So little bites of arts you can bring into this. You can even say, on a family dinner, let's all do a song playlist. Which are your favorite songs? Okay, and you will know by the song selection the person has done what's happening, with them. So for example, Taylor Swift's latest song is supposed to be a big hit with a lot of young women, right? Because it goes to dating. Similarly, they may pick maybe old melodies, maybe they may pick up only sad songs, and that will also tell you what is, really happening. And once, say, the song list is over, you can just chat. There's a lot of sad songs. What was happening? Okay, maybe they will pull up. The main thing is you should hone into what the teenager wants. So if somebody is into dancing, don't force them and say, no, you have to do painting.
Mm.
So be aware of where the child is and then move them further into that direction. Because even just one medium is enough for expression, you don't need 20. So really try to gauge what the interest of the child is and don't enforce it. So, the more you expose them to anything, the more they learn. Give them a camera, just take nature pictures. Okay, there are all these pine leaves, leaves on the ground right now. Let's make a nature mandala, it will be nice. So, the more you do, sometimes they also get attracted to what's happening in the family. Have a gratitude jar for Christmas. Just say every month, as a family, we are going to do a gratitude. Anything we feel grateful for this year, we'll make put this in this gratitude jar, which we all have decorated, and we are going to open it on Christmas Day. So, a lot of different ways in which you can introduce art. And without, saying, tell me your feeling. They may not get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And kids are so, teenagers especially, are so, again, so expressive. Sometimes that can frustrate parents because it's not an expression that they're like, they don't know what to do with. But just, I heard two things that are really important. And number one, that we're talking with our teens, right? We're having conversations with them. That's an important part of this process. And then the other thing that I heard is, giving them opportunities to, lean into the things that they already love. Don't, like, if you really love painting, don't force them to sit down and paint. And they really love music, like, lean in with the music and all of those art forms, whatever it may be, and start there. So I think those are two really great pieces of practical advice. Kind of flipping and going from parents to the actual teenagers. They're at school most of the day, and I'm wondering if there's any practical advice that you might have for teenage girls as maybe they experience a really difficult emotion while they're at school, and how they might be able to use art in a really practical way at school when they maybe can't, sit down or, make pottery or pull out a guitar or whatever. What might be some practical ways that a teen could use art to process through something that's happening at school in the moment?
So, I would just say, okay, if you can you just doodle something? The right now you're getting really wired out by something. Can you just doodle? You know, or can you? I don't know if you've heard of an art form called Zentangle,
Mhm.
which is a way of bringing mindfulness. And you can just, all you need is just 2 minutes of your time. So I may just say, okay, you're getting really heated up about this conversation. Could you just take a few deep breaths, sit somewhere, maybe just doodle for 2 minutes and join the group again? It can also be, can you look at that tree and, pluck a couple of leaves while you're just walking or, chatting with your friend? Just start plucking random stuff. And
Mm.
later, can you just write whatever you are feeling, trace the leaf and write whatever is happening on the leaf? So, a lot of artwork will require you, it's not like on the go. Some of it can be on the go. For example, singing is on the go. Okay, I'm getting really stressed out. Okay, can I play my favorite song for 2 minutes to calm myself down? Okay, and whenever I hear these kind of musical beats, something in my brain changes, therefore I can calm down. Can I use movement? So if they're outside with a group, can I start just, moving my body in a certain way, find a close spot, move my body and come back to wherever I need to be. So you sometimes it can be as simple as, can you just write down a few words of whatever happening in your head with your left hand? And
Mm.
that is enormously helpful, because then it starts tapping into the other side of the brain. So little things like that, whatever may be possible. And the other thing, I really work with teenagers and I teach them about catching their breath, about just being in the moment for 2 minutes. Can you look at five things and just calm yourself down for those 2 minutes? And then come home, I'll give them like a journal diary and say, oh dear diary, just write everything into it. It really depends, but the key things I would teach them is breath work. I would teach them how to calm themselves in that moment. And the other few things I would say is, maybe play your favorite music, doodle, art, whatever, depending on where they are. If they are with their 10 friends, they're not going to be doing it. Right? The only
Yeah.
thing that they can do is maybe breathe. And the friends don't know that you're doing some kind of breathing, but it is calming you internally. So it really depends on where exactly these kids are at that point of time.
Yeah, I've learned that breath work really is helpful in sort of setting the tone for just mindfulness and coming to, even
Coming
before you
to your
doodle and helping to work through some of those emotions. And that oftentimes if I just breathe really, really deeply, some difficult motions in the moment just leave or they diminish if I just breathe deeply through it for a couple of minutes. That's all it takes typically. So I love some great practical tools that I didn't even think of. I didn't even think about, just you're in the hall, just move your body in a way that, well, it
just
feels,
jump up and
yeah,
down a few times.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
feeling very okay. I'll lie down under the tree if there's a playground.
yeah,
The minute you're lying down on earth, already the earth's magnetic field is calming you down.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Everywhere
Great.
art is not going to be there. You will not
Yeah,
have material. So the main
great.
thing is to change your mindset at that point.
Great suggestions. I love that. I know that you are practicing in India, and I'm curious if there's like any cultural considerations that might be good to talk about in terms of art for wellness.
So India has a culture of art going back to almost, I don't know, centuries. Even before Christ, 5th century, 4th century. We have temples, we have sculptures, we have paintings. Each region in India has a certain, tribal painting, everything from Madhubani to bond paintings. In South India, everybody, and for generations, women have made kolam, which are now called mandalas in the West. And they make it with rice powder, and the birds eat it. Every festival of ours has color. So in Holi we'll only play with color. On Diwali we will make color mandala. So it's a very ancient tradition where art has been a part of our life. One of the thing I would say is, when you're working with a person of another culture, read up, know a little bit about that culture, because then you will be able to choose the right material. So for example, if you are choosing stories, if you choose a color purple, it may work with a certain group, the book for example, right? Some of the paragraphs, but it may not work in another culture. So if you're, for example, working with somebody in South Africa, read up a little bit about, what is happening, what is a great book to read. For example, if you're doing storytelling activities or you're doing blackout poetry. Number two, the most important thing is never assume. I sometimes I worked with people where, and it's something which you learn over time. You will think somebody's surname is this, therefore the religion is Y, and you realize, oh no, that's not it at all. The person could have, it's a complete surprise at times. So never assume anything about the person. Read up about the culture. Read up about what kind of art activities are used in that culture. So, for example, if you've read, this came as an example in one of the books. This person went to Africa thinking, I'm going to teach these people how to, work on trauma. It just wasn't working what this person was trying to do. And then this lady in the group started drumming, And all these women got up because Africa has a huge tradition of drumming, and they started moving their bodies, swaying their bodies, and really getting into, changing whatever was happening into them. So, figure out what is the culture of each country. So, if you go to Masai Mara, they work a lot with beads, for example, right? Can you create a art project out of beads, which will make sense for them? Rather than rather than seashells, which they're not going to find. The other thing is always think of local availability.
Mm.
So just to give your example, culturally, for example, I'm living in Delhi. There is no sea near me. Right now, if I want to do a sand mandala, or if I want to do, seashell coloring or something for nature expressive art, it's not going to work, right? But if the same thing, if I get into a beach town, I'll find a lot of local material, which can the dredge wood may be there, the shells may be there. You so really be mindful first in terms of what is the cultural practice. Never assume. Third thing is go with local material, and you should be fairly okay.
I love that. And I think that that's really important if you're doing any using art to help process through emotions. But I also think there's such value with each of us individually in our own practices, our own sort of art journeys, of using art as a way to build resilience by understanding, some of the cultural art that's out there, like mandalas. Like that's something that has sort of spread across and is, I think, used a lot in just calming and mindfulness now. That's a tradition that has come, and we all get to benefit from it. And so I think looking across some of these global cultural traditions of art and different art forms, we can learn a lot about each other, but also I think we can learn new things that maybe we hadn't considered before in our own practice of, find this mindfulness or this building resilience through working with various art materials. So I love that. I understand, and I'm excited about this, that you have an activity for us today.
I have an activity. The activity is a mix of mindfulness, art therapy, and a little bit of journaling work and then tapping. So the whole thing will take probably, I'll try and do it as quickly as I can.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a picture now. Okay. Can you see it now?
Oh yeah, huh? Yeah.
So this is what is called a body map. Okay.
Okay.
And the body map is very, very useful for women in order to know what is happening. Everything which happens in the head eventually will find a way into the body. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, it's a great tool which I use in order for women to know what is happening and to know their emotions which are stuck in the body and also find a way to release them. So, what you have to do is relax yourself completely now. I want you to put both your feet on the ground.
Okay.
Relax. Just think, relax your chin, relax your face. Take a few deep breaths, close your eyes. And I want you to quickly take your thoughts to your feet. And I want you to think, what are my feet feeling today? Do they want to run? Do they want to stop? Are they tired? Be with your feet moving up into your lower legs. How are your lower legs feeling today? How is your knee? Is it filled with fear or is it relaxed? Is it calm? Is it wobbly or is it tense? Moving up to your pelvis. Feel what is in my pelvis. What does it feel like? Is it heavy? Is it dense? How is my stomach? Is it queasy? Do I have butterflies or is it completely relaxed? Moving up into your heart. How is my heart? Is it open, closed? sad, happy, joyful. Breathe into your lungs and feel. Are they tired? Feel into your neck and shoulders. Are they carrying a lot of burdens? Or are they feeling fine? Feel into your entire five senses. What am I talking to myself? What am I hearing? What am I breathing in? What am I smelling? And then go into the whole back column, lower back, upper back, middle back, and the lower legs. Stay with your body for another 10 seconds. And when you open your eyes, draw the front of your body, the back of your body, and any emotions which are residing in the body. Color your body in different colors.
Monica, you've picked one of the most challenging things to draw. And so the human
This is
body,
not a, first of all, Amy, this is one thing I tell everybody who works in art therapy. This is not an art class. Even if you make one leg with one line, I'm okay with that. So relax.
completely agree. And I think some people are going to have that same experience like, oh, I can't draw a stick figure. So it's
Oh,
representing all of those people out there that maybe drawing is not their, they haven't learned how to draw yet.
this is not a drawing class.
Yeah.
Even if you make the most childish drawing, it's fine. What we are looking is what is happening in your body. And color that body, color your legs, color your pelvis, whatever is coming up for you, pick it up. Main thing is be with your emotions. What are you feeling? That's the main thing.
Right, so I'm just drawing my body here and a little bit of curly hair. I'm doing the front side.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
gonna,
and think of any feeling which is coming up for you. What came up in the body? Even if they're just one or two, it's fine.
I'm just gonna, probably the biggest feeling I'm having right now is I'm just grateful. Like I've just been kind of a rough week and I'm just really grateful for so many
Every
things, my family, my life. Uh, so I'm just drawing a big heart here on me. And so for the front of my body, I'm feeling really at peace and really like
okay.
everything's going good here, except for in my shoulders. I have a lot of stress. That's where I tend to carry my stress is in my shoulders. So just, having been on a plane and just, just feeling all of that, of being on a plane. And so let me show you. It's just really simple, but this is kind of what my drawing looks like on the front.
Great. All
Now,
right.
my back, I'm going to flip the page here and do my back. My back is really interesting because I'm feeling a lot of, I have some chronic back pain, and I'm definitely feeling that this morning. Oops, that is a funny looking one, but I don't care.
Yeah, like I said, it's not an art class.
Yeah,
Nobody judges you for that. The what we are trying to catch, like you rightly picked, my heart is feeling so nice, but my shoulders are so tense.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so much happening that. so much I'm storing in my shoulders.
Yes,
And
on the
similar,
back, I'm
yeah,
definitely feeling like I'm gonna use red again because red for me represents the heart, but red for me also represents sort of aggravations. It's interesting how
okay,
very opposite feelings, but can be both represented by the color red.
yeah,
So I'm feeling a little inflamed in my lower back and feeling a little bit of pain there and my upper back a little bit, just a little tight. And I put some things there, some red there. I broke my ankle a number of years ago, and I was
okay.
noticing that it's feeling a little bit puffy and inflamed as well. So, see on my back, that was this one over here. So I noticed I was limping a little bit this morning when I got up. So yeah, nothing major, but it's made me more aware of my body this morning for sure. So this is my back.
Okay. So already, if I just ask you a question, Amy, how are you? You said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
But now, by the minute I've said, okay, let's do this body mapping, so much has come out, right?
Yeah.
This thing is not okay. And, I really liked it, what you said about the color. So, colors have no inherent meaning.
Mhm.
We give meaning to the color. The same color can have so many meanings for the same person. So, a lot of people think red is only anger. No, red can even be love. Black can also be magic. Black can also be sexuality. Black can also be spirituality. So, colors have no meaning. It is the meaning which you give to each color. And this is a great exercise where I ask people make this journal so that you can track your body. Now, what we are going to do is doing some release. Okay. So,
Okay.
what I want you to do is I want you to write a letter to your body, whatever you feel like writing. Don't hold back.
Okay.
And here is the thing, I want you to write it with your left hand. If you're a right hander, use your left hand. If you're a left hander, use your right hand.
Okay. Non-dominant hand here. Okay.
And if you're ambidextrous, well, it is what it is. Even if it sounds scrawly, even if it sounds childish, just keep taking it out.
Well, that really does take you to a different place in your brain, doesn't it? By using your non-dominant hand.
Yes. And ask your body with this very gentle, childlike quality, what's happening? What do you need?
Hmm.
What comes up?
I'm noticing for my ankle, what I'm wanting to do is to thank it for working. Like so
Okay.
many people don't have, they have an injury that they just never, that maybe it doesn't ever work again, right? I still can walk, I can still work. So I think that that's an interesting that thing that came up in this process is I just wanted to thank it. And my low back, as I'm sitting here thinking about it and wanting to sort of honor it and be present with it, is, you know, I'm sort of wanting to sort of give it a hug. I know it sounds funny, but it's like, because I've had chronic back pain most of my life. And so, especially in my low back, and I just want to say, I know it's hard, right? So it's more about sort of being there for it, which again, I think is kind of funny, is seeing it sort of as its own entity. And I think it's funny too that I'm writing in cursive with my left hand.
Yeah. One of the things why I say left hand is the minute I say use your dominant brain will become cognitive. I need to do physiotherapy. I need this, right? But
Yeah.
when we are using your left hand, it takes you to the creative side of the brain. And therefore, whatever is inside, the childlike things, they're very simple. Thank you, ankle. Thank you,
Mhm.
back. We don't pay that attention. We're so in that other mode. So the more we talk to each body part, the more
Mhm.
it talks back. So once you're done writing a page, right? page, or if you feel like writing more, you can. Then we'll stop and then we'll do a very simple tapping exercise to let go of the pain.
I think what I'm telling my upper body, kind of what I want to tell it is you can relax. Like it's okay, I got this. I just want it to know that it's, it can relax. Because I feel like that's why I hold the tension and it's kind of holding it all together. It's in that upper back section for me. So that's great. I'm going to do the back here. And in the interest of time, I won't flip back over and do the front because front's feeling pretty good. I would say my heart is just, it's feeling, again, gratitude and full and feeling grateful for a lot of things in my life right now. So, but
So
yeah,
now we're going to go ahead. Sorry,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was going to say, let's move to the tapping part. I'm really interested in that.
This is very simple. It's got nothing. All I want you to do is start tapping every part of your body. Think of it, how a mother would tap a young baby. She's not
Okay. At their back. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're doing is showing some love to your body,
Okay.
right? So all you start from here and just go gently, very, very gently. And what this tapping movement does is it releases a lot of stuff which we are holding inside. So just go everywhere if you can. I mean, right now you can't stand because of the work, but really think, can I go down everywhere in my body, tapping gently, especially the parts which pain, the shoulder. Can I just keep tapping on it for some time? Breathe until the shoulder release, release. Tap into your hands very gently. Go upper hand, go into the lower hand, go into your armpit, and ask your body to release whatever it needs to release. Keep breathing, keep breathing. Tap the front of the body, the back, especially where things are very strained. So I'm just tapping.
Mm.
You can do it later also. But what it does is it removes this stuck energy from that body.
I think what's really interesting about that, Monica, what I was experiencing was, again, it's that it's like there is some other tapping methodologies that are also used that may be a little bit more, that are different, right? But this particular one, as you were walking me through that, it really did sort of feel like the pat of a mother's love, and there's something really powerful about that. And I know not everybody had a mother that they considered to be loving and protective, but I think we can be that for ourselves, no matter what that was like. And that just that tapping feeling is just very comforting. There was a lot of uh, feelings of love in that tap. Like I got you, I got you. It's a self-soothing technique, which
Yeah,
was really, yeah, I could really feel that. I could
yeah.
really feel that. Beautiful.
So yeah, there are a lot of tapping techniques, emotional freedom technique. You have qigong. There are lots and lots of these techniques. But what happens with this is first, it's just very gentle. It
Mm-hmm.
is like very, very soothing. And what it does is if you do this for 10 minutes every day, if you have the time, even in your shower, it will release what is stuck.
Mm.
It's a way of also honoring each part. You keep talking about gratitude, gratitude, but how often do we thank our knee? How
Mm-hmm.
often? It's only when it's not well, we're like, the knee is not well. But when it's well, right?
Yeah,
So it's
doesn't get
also,
any love when it's well. It only gets attention when it's not well. Yeah.
and a lot, and understandably, people are busy. But if you start showing that love to your back and saying, okay, let's just tap it gently, let's just release. slowly, some things start working in the body. It's a simple technique.
Yeah, and something that you could do anywhere. Like you could be sitting at your desk at work and just tapping your knees or tapping your legs, and it's not going to call a lot of attention, just to get you become present in the moment again, or doing it in the shower. I love that. I love any techniques that help us just in our daily routine, that it's not this something that we have to set aside, right? And I think that's a technique that again could work really well as well to help us to just relax into and honor and appreciate and have gratitude towards. And I think, again, as we talk about resilience, gratitude is such a huge part of having resilience and being able to sort of navigate some of life challenges. So, Monica, this has been really fun. And thank you so much for being with us and sharing your knowledge and your skills and your perspective, your unique perspective with us. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and I hope everyone has a lovely weekend in creativity.